Thank you for coming out this afternoon. My name is Rick Kitson, Public Affairs Director for the City of Cupertino. We are here this afternoon to celebrate the inauguration of two dual port charging stations at our Cupertino Library here at our Civic Center. And a lot of people worked very hard to make this possible. And to start with the presentations, I'd like to introduce our Mayor, Barry Chang.
I think this is exciting to have the more charging station because more people is buying electrical car, and we want to stop the climate change. We got to change from the gas, car to electrical car. So I have a Chevy Volt, and then my problem is sometimes you cannot find a charging station. So this is really good. We have two here, actually 4 port, and then we have 2 more down there on the Rodriguez. So, resident here in Cupertino, anybody, when you come to Cupertino Library, please feel free to use it. Climate change, as Pope Francis say, is a moral issue. It's really a moral issue. Okay, if this generation is not willing to adapt, to make a change, there may not be a future generation. It may get wiped out by the extreme weather conditions. So it's our job to do it right. And then I'm glad Cupertino has been in the city of Cupertino. We've been in the leading age to in this direction, thanks to our environmental lady Aaron here. We have a community choice energy program coming up, and then in all the new building, in a new office building or retail building, we are requiring at least a 15% parking space have a charging outlet for the electrical car. And I would like to have more. At that time, I was proposing 50%, but I couldn't get the majority, so I have to compromise. 15% is better than nothing. So we're heading toward that direction. And I want to especially thank Lindsey Tanimoto, from California Energy Commission. He's a specialist. California Energy Commission really help us with this big grant, and I'm glad you drove all the way here. Only took 2 hours. You're lucky. Okay, traffic is getting worse here. And I want to thank Cameron Funk and Mike Harrigan helped to apply for the grant, and also, of course, our former mayor Richard Lowenthal. So come use it, and then let's change it. Let's make it adapt to the weather condition, and now stop the climate change, and then hopefully help save the future generation. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
As Mayor Chang said, we're very honored to have Lindsey Tanimoto here from Sacramento. He is the EV team lead, fuels and transportation division representative from the California Energy Commission. Lindsey, if you could come up and say a few words.
All right, thanks for all being here. It's a great day. I was telling folks there when I left Sacramento, it was 50 degrees and foggy, and I come here and I could leave my jacket in the car. It's like awesome weather. Yes, very nice. But anyway, so on our grant, it's almost $491,000 we gave to our grantee. And like I said, I'm glad to see the city of Cupertino is willing to be a willing site host, because I've been doing this for about 4 years, and it's so difficult to find successful site hosts that will really follow through from beginning to end to have these chargers installed. It's easy for us to give away grant money, but it's another thing to have the site host to agree and then to follow through. So I'm really thankful for the city of Cupertino to have the foresight and encouragement for all these EV drivers in the area. So thank you very much.
Lindsey, we may ask for more money later on. Okay, thank you.
Well, as Lindsey mentioned, this was a generous grant from the California Energy Commission, but this project was made possible by the active partnership of ChargePoint. We're very fortunate to have our former mayor and co-founder of ChargePoint here, Richard Lowenthal. Richard, would you say a few words?
Are you kidding? You put a microphone near me and it's trouble. Because I am a recovering politician. So first of all, I want you to know that I was not on the council that approved the purchase of these things from my company, because that would look bad. But it happened after I left. But so the story of that is I was the mayor of Cupertino, and you had the nerve to turn me out in 2007. And so in 2007, in September of that year, I started ChargePoint. And that's who manufactures these charging stations. And we're so proud to be here in the city of Cupertino. But I did not use that influence. So I think the most important thing to say is to talk about the courage of the city staff and the council. Aaron, you get a lot of kudos. Because this is probably the busiest parking lot you'll find in Cupertino. And the hardest thing to do is to say, okay, we're going to set aside these parking spaces to enable our residents to be part of the solution to climate change. So this is about letting you be able to contribute to this solution of this very crucial problem. And the city has to face angry people who can't park their Toyota or Chevy Tahoes or the Tacomas or whatever in these spaces, because they will be angry and Barry will catch heat about that. But it takes courage. It takes courage from the staff. It takes courage from the political leaders. It takes commitment from Sacramento to make these kind of things happen and allow you to be part of the solution. I am. So that happened first to me, and what converted me to an EV person was that when I first was elected to council here in Cupertino, was 1999. The city had a little fleet of Toyota RAV4s, which we drove around, and they were fabulous cars. And if you know the story, Toyota took them all back and crushed them because they didn't want to support them, which caused me to be a lifelong EV guy. So it's all tied back here to the city of Cupertino. The creation of this company and all of it came out of Cupertino's commitment in the early 90s to clean transportation. So you should be proud of your city. I'm definitely proud of Cupertino for doing this, and very happy that you asked me here to speak today. So thank you very much.
So helping to coordinate all of these players is Mike Harrigan, who will speak. He is the Senior Program Manager in Electric Vehicle Initiatives for Prospect, Silicon Valley, and formerly Bay Area Climate Collaborative.
Correct.
All right, come on up.
Well, I won't take too long because it's, much of this has already been said. So my real role here is to thank all of our involved partners, which includes, Richard didn't say this, but Coulomb, now called ChargePoint, sorry Richard, was a very big part of this project in that they came up with the matching funds. The California Energy Commission requires matching funds to do these kinds of projects. So ChargePoint came up with a lot of the matching funds. Another partner that you'll hear from in a second is Cameron, representing ABM. ABM was our installation partner on this project. So they actually are the company that dug the hole, pulled the wires, bolted these charging stations in place and made them work. So thank you very much, Cameron, for being such a great partner on this. And of course, the city of Cupertino, we couldn't have done this without the city of Cupertino. And by the way, there are, in this particular part of Bay Cap, there are 8 other local cities that are also participating in this project. So 2 years ago, I was a really busy guy writing a grant proposal to Lindsey, who we've already heard from, that was, with our fingers crossed that we would get approved for this particular project so that we could install altogether in Bay Cap 1, I believe that there are about 75 charging ports being installed around the Bay Area to help these kinds of activities that we've been hearing about in terms of climate change and enabling people to buy electric vehicles. So thank you to all of our partners, and yeah, we want to work with you, Mr. Mayor, on your next project.
All right.
Thank you.
We've heard from the people who paid for the project to the people who planned the project, and so lastly we get to hear from Cameron Funk with ABM, who which is the company that actually built these excellent charging stations. Come on up.
Thank you. Well, I want to thank the City of Cupertino and Richard. Richard's company was has been a real dream to work with, and Mike. And I just want to talk a little bit about the project and how easy it was to deal with the city. So we did more than just install the stations. We actually did the engineering up front to submit to the plans. Those were all pieces of the project that we did as matching funds. Early on, we've been installing stations for quite a while. We saw that sometimes when grant money is given out, as Lindsey said, sometimes the money doesn't get spent effectively. So we really came up with a unique approach for this grant, which was the installation budget was going to be firm and fixed at $4,500 a station. That includes 2 years of maintenance, and we worked as much as we could to supply as much matching funds in the form of labor, in-kind services as possible to make this work. So I'm confident that this is going to be the path forward for your city, for future projects, and also for others in the city.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Also, let me recognize I'm the one taking all the glories, but the actual work is done by the city manager, David Brand, and the public work director, Tim Borden, and all the staff here, the crew, and really thank you very much. And let's charge it now, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.